Yes, here are the favorite con law bar exam traps for those 10 doctrines. Tur 1, judicial review. Favorite traps. Trap. Thinking every unconstitutional issue automatically gets decided on the merits. The court first asks whether it can hear the case. Trap. Forgetting that courts review constitutionality, not whether a law is wise or fair. Trap. Mixing up judicial review with justiciability. Judicial review equals power to strike laws. Justiciability equals whether this court can hear this case now. Memory warning. First ask, can the court hear it? Then ask, who wins? 2. Justiciability. Favorite traps. Standing trap. Plaintiff is angry, offended, or ideological, but has no personal injury. That is usually no standing. Trap. General taxpayer standing. Usually no standing, except very narrow Establishment Clause type exceptions in older bar framing. Trap. Third party standing. Usually you assert your own rights while not someone else's. Ripeness trap. Law has not yet been enforced and injury is speculative. Too early. Mootness trap. Problem is over, so the case is dead. But watch for exceptions like capable of repetition yet evading review, voluntary cessation, class actions. R. Political question trap. The issue sounds important, so students think court must decide it. Not always. Some issues are textually committed to another branch. Memory warning, no real injury, too early, too late, or wrong branch equals no federal court. 3. Congressional powers, favorite traps. Commerce Clause trap. Congress has general police power. It does not. States do. Congress needs an enumerated power. Trap. Assuming any activity that affects money is automatically interstate commerce. The effect must fit the doctrine. Trap. Missing the difference between channels, instrumentalities, substantial effects. Taxing and spending trap. Calling something a penalty when the exam wants you to see it as a tax. Trap. Forgetting Congress may spend for the general welfare, even where it may not directly regulate in the same way. Necessary and proper trap, treating it like a standalone power. It is tied to another enumerated power. Memory warning. Congress is powerful but not general purpose. Shammer 4. Dormant Commerce Clause favorite traps. Trap, mixing it up with Congress's Commerce Clause power. Commerce Clause equals federal power. Dormant Commerce Clause equals limit on states. Trap, missing disguised discrimination. The statute may sound neutral but protect in-state business in practice. Trap, forgetting the two major possibilities, discriminatory law, non-discriminatory but unduly burdensome law. Trap, forgetting exceptions, market participant congressional approval. Memory warning, ask, is the state helping its own economy by outsiders? Number 5. Supremacy Clause / preemption, favorite traps. Trap, assuming state and federal law can coexist just because they are worded differently. If they conflict in operation, federal law wins. Trap, forgetting implied preemption. Congress does not need to say preempted expressly. Trap, confusing preemption with dormant commerce clause. Preemption equals federal law knocks out state law. Dormant commerce clause, state law invalid even without federal statute. Memory warning. If federal and state law collide, ask express, field, conflict, obstacle. 6. Equal protection, favorite traps. Trap, using the wrong level of scrutiny. Big one. Race, national origin equals strict scrutiny. Sex, intermediate scrutiny. Most others equals rational basis. Trap, thinking all unfair laws get heightened scrutiny. They do not. Trap, forgetting state action. Equal protection generally applies to government, not purely private conduct. Trap, mixing up discrimination against aliens by states and by the federal government. That often changes the analysis. Trap, seeing discrimination but missing whether it is facial, discriminatory purpose, discriminatory impact only. Usually impact alone is not enough. Memory warning, ask who is classified and what standard applies. Number 7, due process, favorite traps. Procedural due process trap, jumping straight to no hearing, without asking whether there is a protected life, liberty, or property interest first. Trap, assuming every government benefit is a protected property interest. Not always. Trap, thinking any hearing must be a full trial. Sometimes less process is enough. Substantive due process trap, confusing it with equal protection. Substantive due process, government burdens a fundamental right. Equal protection equals government classifies people. Trap, missing the fundamental right question. If no fundamental right, usually rational basis. Trap, forgetting that some issues can be framed both ways. Example, voting in marriage can trigger both due process and equal protection thinking. Memory warning, procedural DP equals what process? Substantive DP equals can government do this at all? Battle number 8, free speech. Favorite traps. Trap, not identifying whether the restriction is content-based or content-neutral. Trap, missing viewpoint discrimination, which is especially bad. Trap, forgetting to ask what forum you are in. Traditional public forum, designated limited public forum, non-public forum. Trap, treating all speech as equally protected. Some categories get less protection. Incitement, obscenity, defamation, commercial speech, fighting words, true threats. Trap, confusing offensive speech with unprotected speech. Offensive is often still protected. Trap, student speech and public employee speech have their own rules. Do not use ordinary public forum analysis automatically. Memory warning, always ask what kind of speech, what kind of restriction, what kind of place. Number 9, religion, favorite traps. Establishment clause. Trap, thinking voluntariness always saves the government action. It does not. No one had to join is often not enough. Trap, missing subtle government endorsement or school coercion. Free exercise trap. Thinking any burden on religion is unconstitutional. A neutral law of general applicability often survives. Trap, missing when the law is actually targeting religion. Trap, mixing up free exercise with establishment. Free exercise equals burden on believer. Establishment equals government promoting or endorsing religion. Memory warning, ask, is government favoring religion or is government targeting religion? Number 10, takings, favorite traps. Trap, thinking only physical seizure counts. Regulations can also be takings. Trap, thinking every drop in property value is a taking, usually not. Trap, missing the all economically beneficial use issue. Trap, forgetting that government may take for public use if it pays just compensation. The issue is often payment, not whether taking is forbidden. Trap, confusing takings with due process. Takings equals property taken, compensation owed. Due process equals fairness or liberty issue. Memory warning, property regulation is not always a taking, but if government goes too far, it must pay. The biggest overall con law bar traps, these are the ones students miss most. 1. Wrong doctrine. They answer equal protection when it is really due process, or dormant commerce clause when it is really preemption. 2. Wrong actor. Ask first, Congress, state, president, court, private party. That changes everything. 3. Wrong level of scrutiny. This is a classic bar trap. 4. Forgetting state action. Many constitutional claims fail because the actor is private. 5. Skipping threshold issues. Standing, ripeness, mootness, state action, protected interest. 6. Treating fairness as the legal test. Our bar examiners love answers that sound morally nice but are doctrinally wrong. 7. Missing exceptions. Market participant, capable of repetition yet evading review. Good faith exception. Neutral law of general applicability. Fast attack checklist for con law questions. When you read the question, ask who acted? Congress, state, local government, president, school, court, private actor. What is being challenged? Power, right, classification, speech, religion, property, court access, any threshold issue, standing, ripeness, mootness, state action, what doctrine fits best, what test applies, strict scrutiny, intermediate, rational basis, public forum, takings, etc. Any exception or special rule, that's how you avoid most traps. Next, I can give